What is going on YouTube? It's your boy Rich Nice back once again. So today we are in the shop. It's a little windy outside, so I had to back the truck up. So let me close the garage. So today we're working on our C10 project. We're working on the radio. Since I had to actually pull the seat itself out, I might as well go ahead and run the wires for the radio and the speakers. As you can see, we can't use the stock type radio because this has been butchered and cut up. So we are going to put a single DIN in here. We already have our wires from our painless harness routed up here. This gray wire actually goes to our heater box down here where the heater controls are. I've already put a new antenna on and it's right there. And I ran the wire through so it comes out right here. So basically the radio we got is I believe it's an Alpine, but we'll get into that in a minute. And then we have a 2 amp wiring kit. So the plan is to put 4 speakers in here, put 2 in the kick panels up top or up front, and then we have panels that go on the corner back here that sit right here, and it's going to hold a 6.5, and then we're going to put our little sub box with probably 2 10s or 2 12s back here. So that is the plan. We already have our wires run back for our dome light, which is hanging down right there. We also have our remote wire for an amp, which is this blue wire. And then we have the fuel sending unit, which is this wire right here, because the tank used to be back here and it's now underneath the bed, so we don't even need this. So we'll cap that off. We already got our seat belts in. So my plan is to run the wires down behind the heater box, down the center of the carpet, and then go underneath and then come out back here. We're going to run the power on that side because the battery is on that side, and then we'll run the RCAs on this side along with the speaker wires that go from here to here and there. So well, without further ado, let me get some stuff set up and I'll show you what we have.
Dark side, light this bitch up.
So for the radio, we have an Alpine, and it's a UTE-73 Bluetooth. And it's nothing fancy. It's just something so we can have some music. And if we needed a Bluetooth from our phone, we could to play music and those type of things. It does have 3 sets of RCAs on the back, and we'll get into that once we unbox it. And then for the amp kit itself, again, this is nothing that's competition, but this is a 0 gauge kit, which is overkill for what we need it for. And this is CCA, it's not OCF, which is oxygen copper free wire. Again, we're not doing competition, we just want to have some sound in our truck. So again, this is overkill, but it comes with several grounding wires. You have your power wire, you have your power wire that comes from the battery along with your speaker wires. You also have your fuse that goes up by the battery. You have 2 distribution blocks for the rear, one for power, one for ground. And then you have 3 sets of RCAs that will come in an assortment of different type of connectors and things like that, zip ties. And the reason I went with this kit because it's for 2 amps. And basically what we're gonna do is we're gonna have 1 amp that's gonna run our subs. We're gonna have 1 amp that's gonna run our 4 speakers. We have 2 choices for our amps. I can go tera amps, which I have over here on the shelf. We're in the process of cleaning up, so I know my shop is a hot mess, but after 11 months of trying to put this truck together and having things all over the place, we're getting there slowly but surely, so we'll get it put back together. Or we could do kicker amps, and I do believe I have a 1,000-watt kicker amp and a 4-channel kicker watt amp that can go in here, or we can do a smart 3K tera amps and then a 4-channel tera amps. So it just kind of depend on what we want to do. Again, this is nothing major, nothing big. So if it gets stolen, I'm not out of a whole bunch of money because this is just stuff I got left laying around. So I'm trying to go Bob, which is baller on the budget, and use the stuff that I have without having to go out and buy new stuff. So the only thing we may have to do is we may have to buy a new box. I have some 10s. I have some Alpine Type R and Type S that can go in here. We do have a box. This is all the stuff that we're cleaning up. We do have a box right here. It's a little bit thick to fit behind the seat because it'll make the seat sit straight up, but it will fit 2 12s. So either we can use this and get 12s, because I don't think I have any 12s. I may have 1 12 up there somewhere. Or we can just buy a box and use 10s, which I think is what we're going to do. I think we're just going to buy a smaller box for 10s and use the 10-inch because I think the box is cheaper to buy the box than it is to buy the speakers. So, and then we'll put our fenders back on and our doors and everything else. But I had to do some things. So that is the plan. So without further ado, I'll get this radio unboxed and then we can start running wires and laying stuff down and seeing where things are going to go. So, all right, in the kit, you have your radio itself, you have your faceplate, you have your keys to take the radio out of the housing, you have your power wire that will hook into our painless, and then you have your microphone for your Bluetooth. And again, this is nothing. I think this thing was like maybe $100. We'll get it hooked up. Everything up here will be easy because we have these little connectors, and all you do is you just open one of these up, stick the wire in, close it, and it's a done deal. Quick and painless. That way, if we ever need to take it out, we still can. So without further ado, we'll get to running some wires. All right, YouTube, so we got our wiring put in, we got our bracket run, we have our RCAs run from the front to the rear. Go back here. What I did was I went ahead and put pieces of tape on these so we will know which one goes where. This black one is going to be our subwoofer. This blue one is going to be the rear, and the one without tape right here will be our front speakers. And the same thing goes back here. You have your blue, your black with tape, and then your one without tape. Here's your black with tape. So we know exactly which one is which. And then on the back of the radio itself, this is what I was talking about. It has the 3. You have your front, your rear, and then your 2 subwoofers down here. And then, of course, you'll have your plug for your mic and all that good stuff. So, pretty simple. As far as your wiring goes, your red is your key on power. Your yellow is your battery power. Goes in this yellow one. So this is constant power from your battery. This is all right, YouTube, we got our RCAs running to the back. We color coded them. We have a blue one, we have a black one, and then we'll have one that doesn't have anything on it. We did the same thing up front. We have a blue one, a black one, and one with nothing on it. As far as your wiring harness goes, your blue, all blue, will be for your power antenna if you ever have one. Your blue and white will be your remote amp turn on, which will connect to this blue wire on the painless harness, which is already run back here, right here. Your yellow is your constant power that comes from the battery. Your orange is your dimmer switch. So when you turn your lights on, it dims the radio itself so it doesn't blind you. Your red is your keyed power. And then your black is your ground. Again, all this was in the painless harness, so the only thing I had to do was route it up here and connect the wires. And I did go with these instead of the regular butt connectors. So if we ever decided that we need to take this out for whatever reason, it's a lot easier to just pop this up, pull the wire out, and then this is protected on the other side, and then we could put it back in the hole up there. So pretty easy. And these wires right here are speaker wires. So if you're not running an amp, you would just run your speaker wires to these. So you have 2 for your front, 2 for your rear, so on and so forth. So left, right. So we don't need those. So we'll go ahead and put some heat shrink on these and put these back in. We have our antenna pulled through. Again, we have our bracket for our radio itself pulled through. So really, the only thing left to do is to plug everything in the back of here. I still got to run the wire for the microphone, but that should be pretty easy, pretty simple. So I'll get that done, and then we'll be back and we'll be able to put this thing in. All right, we got everything hooked up in the back. Got a harness, got our RCAs. Again, I went with black for subwoofer, which is on the bottom. I went blue for rear, and then no color at all, I went for front. So basically all you need to do is carefully stuff these wires back into the cavity in here. Don't forget your antenna wire, which you can also use as another remote, kinda, sorta, because it doesn't have power all the time, so to speak. Anyway. All right, YouTube, here comes the moment of truth. We're gonna turn the key and see if we get some power. There it is. Lights up like a charm. And of course, we don't have any sound because we don't have any speakers or anything hooked up to it. We still got to put our amp kit in, so I still got to run the power wire for that, get the ground distribution blocks in, and some other stuff. So, but it is looking pretty good to go. So we'll be running the amp kit next. All right, so we drilled our hole right here. We have a grommet that our wire is going to pass through, which is right here. And basically we'll feed our wire through and it'll come out and hit the inner fender well, and then we'll go up over the inner fender well to the battery. So let's see if I can put some light on the subject. And you can barely see our hole comes out right here. So basically we'll stick our wire through. See how wire comes through, and then it'll snake up the inner fender well just like that. And then what we'll do is we'll pull it, and we'll pull it all the way to the front to the battery. So I will finish doing this because I'm gonna need both hands, and then we'll be back. All right, YouTube, what I've done is I've cut a piece of plywood and stuck it underneath our carpet. This will give us something solid to mount our amp to, which is right here. So I think we'll do it just like that. And then we'll put the 4-channel on that side over there. So I gotta cut another piece of board for that over there. And then we should be at G to G. All right, YouTube, we got everything hooked up. We got our wires run. So what I did was I marked these, that way I would know. So in the front right corner, it has 2 blue pieces of tape. Back here, we'll have 2 blue pieces of tape. I know that's the right side. The left side front will have 1 piece of tape. The right rear will have 2 pieces of black tape. The rear right or left rear will have 1 piece of tape. So we got everything hooked up. We got all our wires run. We got our distribution blocks in. We got our sub amp mounted. We got our wire for our sub amp right there. We got our wires running in the back here in the corners, and that's where these speaker pods will go. So these right here are supposed to be for a 6.5 inch, but I think they're like a 7 inch, and basically they just fit in the corner, kind of something like that. Actually, they go this way. So you sit in the corner, something like this, and then the speaker actually goes in here. But this hole's a little too big for this speaker. There's no place for me to do any mounting with. So either I'm gonna have to put a piece of wood behind it and sandwich it that way. I don't know, we'll see what happens. But we'll get these installed. But for right now, we should be able to turn this on, and the amp should come on. Just like that one. You see the blue light. This one has a red light. I get all these nuts and bolts off of it for the harness. And then I can't turn it up too loud because I'll get monetized. And those are screaming. So just imagine if we had 4 of these in here. So we will be putting 2 more in the front in the kick panels, and get a sub box in here. I'm not sure what we're going to do with the sub box because it has to be a shallow mount, because there's only about 9 inches between the back of the wall and the actual back of the seat. So when it's in, so we'll figure something out for that. But as always, this is just a quick video showing you how to put a stereo system in, which there's tons of YouTube videos out there. Up front, we do have our power wire coming out of our floorboard. It goes to our fuse, and it goes into our battery. So, all right, YouTube, since our speakers are a little bit smaller than the actual speaker hole, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this piece of plywood right here. I'm going to drill out a 5 3/4 inch hole right in the middle of it, and then this will be the backing plate for our speaker, and our speaker will sandwich between this and the actual metal piece of the pod itself. So I'll go ahead and get this cut out real quick, and then I'll show you what it looks like. So this is what it looks like once you get it cut out, and basically you just stick it behind here, and then you run your screws through the speaker and through the wood, and then it sandwiches together, and you'll be good to go. So I'll do that and we'll be back. All right, YouTube, so this is our speaker pod. This is the metal piece I was talking about. They just fit right here in the corners of the thing. And so what we've done is I've used that plywood, like I mentioned earlier, cut a hole, fits in there real perfect. Then we just hook our speaker wires up and then tuck this into the corners. It does have a tab down here that you're supposed to use to go ahead and mount it. And then you can also mount it with these lips right here if you want. So, but I think it'll be fine once we get it wedged in there. We also will stick some kind of padding behind it to help with the sound so it doesn't reverberate off of the truck itself. So more to follow. All right, YouTube, here's the finished product. Just got to wipe it down. Took a little persuading to squeeze it in there, but it's in there. Same thing on this side. So, not too bad. So we'll get our sub box in, and then that'll be a wrap.
Dark side, light this bitch up.
All right, YouTube, we finally got our front kicker speaker pods in. This came from Retro Manufacturing, and basically this has the hole for a 6.5 already cut. So we'll get these unboxed real quick, and we'll take them over to the truck. Here they are. This is what they look like. It's a thin piece of plastic. This is the passenger side, and this opening right here is for your vent. So you should have a little lever in there that you can pull to open the vent up to the front fender well, so you can get some air inside. So your speaker will fit right there, and we'll be G to G. I don't think our 5 1/4 inch speakers that we have will fit in this hole, so I did get some adapters. So let's take these over here to the truck. All right, so we're over at the truck. Our 5 1/4, which is an Alpine Type R component speaker, does not fit. As you can see, there's gaps around it. So we did get an adapter that we can bolt to this, and then we'll bolt our speaker to that adapter and go from there. These are just things that I had laying around collecting dust. One of the tweeters for this didn't work, so what I opted to do is how well y'all can see that, but there's a 5 1/4 right there, right here, and this is where the vent for the heater would go. Right now we're not running heat, so we really don't need it, and there's one on the other side too, right here. So, and those just fit right in there perfect. So we ran the wire down from them to this. There's no need for a crossover because those have a built-in crossover with it because it has a tweeter on it. So basically what we'll do is we'll bolt our adapter to this, and then we'll bolt our speaker to the adapter. I do have some grills somewhere. I'm not really worried about it. Again, I've had these speakers probably 3-4 years. They're just collecting dust. So let me get the adapters out and we'll go from there. All right, YouTube, we got our adapter on. It's still a little small, but we use two screws to secure it, so it's not going anywhere. And then we use our 4 screws to mount our speakers. So basically now all we gotta do is hook our wires up and we'll be good to go. Here's the information for the speaker pod itself. Here's the QR code, the part number, and it came from Retro Sound. So that's everything you need to know to order your set. All right, YouTube, we got our front speakers in. These are from Retro Sound, the actual speaker pods themselves. And this is kind of what it looks like. I still got to put a couple screws in it to hold it in place. Same thing with the driver's side. Got to put a couple screws in it to hold it in place, but you get the idea of what it's going to look like. So stereo is in. Stereo is in. Just like that, it's a done deal. Thank you for subscribing. I'll start putting this thing back together, so maybe you could take this thing on the test drive. Welcome to all the new people. Again, hit the bell, hit the subscribe button. That way you get all the notifications anytime we do something. Till next time, peace.